Alright, here comes the next part of my 20th Century Fox VHS and DVD collection. I'll be focusing on tapes from 20th Century Fox Video and probably mostly from CBS Fox Video. And boy, do I have a gluttonous amount of tapes from the latter company. After Andre Blaine quit Magnetic Video in late 1981, it was decided that Fox would decide to put their own name on Magnetic Video. They did not believe Magnetic would continue successfully without the stewardship of Andre Blaine. So they decided to rename the company to 20th Century Fox Video. Now around that time, it started a rental program which was known as the Video Rental Library. And of course it's the program that launched James Bond, Rocky Novel, and the crew from Star Wars, among others. It also had this film, which is La Cage aux Folles d'Eau. It's an English dub of the sequel to the 1978 film. And they would put these big warnings on the back, like, this video cassette, its container are the property of 20th Century Fox Video Incorporated, and the material recorded on it is the property of 20th Century Fox Video Incorporated or its licensors. Rental of this video cassette does not confer upon the user or any other person any rights to copy, sell, rent, barter, or publicly exhibit the video cassette or the material recorded on it for a fee or for free, and the user and every other person is specifically prohibited from engaging in any such activity. Any such copying, sale, rental, barter, or public exhibition without express written authorization from the copyright owner violates federal copyright law and may result in criminal and or civil penalties. The video cassette and its container must be returned to the dealer from whom they were rented at the end of the rental term. This came from Sunset Home Video. Boatman's never rented out a thing. Let's just point that out. There's the sale versions would typically come in this sort of case. This is colloquially known as the Fox box. And the tape item that comes like that. There's a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. This is a 1982 release. This is a 1966 movie from United Artists. And in very good condition, actually. In the summer of 1982, CBS was heavily distraught with the fact that MGM had merged with United Artists, MGM being CBS's previous video partner. So they shopped around studio to studio looking for suitable partners to do business with, and finally stumbled upon Fox, his video unit. So the two of them merged their video units into one and pulled their resources and came up with CBS Fox Video, which, as stated, would carry titles from each half of the company. And this is from Freeze Frame Video, 1908 4th Street in San Rafael, California, which is today the locale of Ziggy's Pet Grooming. And, yeah. It's a tape of Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1. The tape that kicks off my CBS Fox video collection. And the next tape in it is In the Heat of the Night, the 1967 Academy Award winning Best Picture from United Artists. And there's 50-cent charge enough. The tape is not real loud. Used to be an end label, but that got ripped off at some point. Here's Scavenger Hunts. Now, at the time that I made this tape of the film, it wasn't released on DVD or Blu-ray. However, it got the DVD and Blu-ray treatment in January 2017, thanks to a company called Kino Lorber, which has recently been reissuing a lot of the MGM and Fox libraries, and is readily at work on the on parts of the libraries of Disney, Touchstone, and Hollywood Pictures. And I made this, yeah, as I said, I made this tape myself. That's Scavenger Hunt. Billy Joel Live from Long Island, 1983 HBO concert. And because of HBO, he gets to utter an F-bomb during one of the tracks, from what I heard. There's actually a beta tape of the concert. Looks kind of like this. It comes from Sound Barrier Video. I don't know if they rented out tapes or just sold them. It's Billy Joel Live from Long Island. Now here's a CBS Fox printing of the first of Fox's first 50 from Magnetic. It's Hello Dolly, obviously. It's a 1984 printing to be exact, and for some reason, on this tape, the Fox logo uses the 1979 fanfare. I think the Magnetic release of it, and probably other tapes of this movie, have the correct fanfare for the Fox logo of the time that this was made, 1969. And that being the 1935 fanfare, obviously. Here comes the Sound of Music, a literal 2-tape set thereof. Yep, there's part 1 here. And here is part 2. Yep, the literal 2-tape set I have of the Sound of Music. There comes the Channeling Inferno from Irwin Allen, who is famous for this and other 70s disaster movies such as the Poseidon Adventure and The Swarm. But that's probably more infamous movie for him, The Swarm. And notably, this was the first major studio co-production. It was a co-production between 20th Century Fox and Warner Brothers. Both of them owned the rights to books about burning skyscrapers, and Irwin Allen thought they would cannibalize each other at the box office, so he decided to merge the projects into a single movie that both of them would make. And 20th Century Fox held the US and Canadian rights to this movie, while Warner Brothers owned the rights everywhere else. And it was a fairly risky move back in the 70s, but it paid off handsomely. So that's the 1984 tape of the Channeling Inferno. Here's the Diary of Anne Frank, of course based on a diary from the Holocaust victim. 1959 20th Century Fox CinemaScope movie. And this was printed during the 14th week of 1994, not 84. It's important that I make that distinction very clear because, CBS Fox wasn't doing week and year codes back in 1984. Here's a West Side Story, the 1961 Academy Award winning Best Picture. From producer Robert Wise, who also produced another Oscar winning Best Picture, The Sound of Music. It's a 1961 United Artists film. Here's The Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn, one of his swashbucklers. And I think this is Warner's first, if not the first movie that Warner Brothers did in color back in 1938. Of course, that movie was owned by United Artists at the time. This one. Here's Revenge of the Pink Panther. Peter Sellers in the very last Pink Panther movie he ever starred in during his lifetime. Oh sure, he appeared in 1982's Trail of the Pink Panther, but that movie was mostly comprised of outtakes from previous installments of that series. Now, at the time that he died, he was working on Romance the Pink Panther, without Blake Edwards, of course. But that movie ended up not being made after he died. There's Captain Blood, Errol Flynn's first swashbuckling adventure from 1935. This is the 1984 print thereof. Here's the Anthel, starring Barbara Streisand. It's a drama that she not only starred and sang in, but it's also a movie she co-wrote, produced, and directed. And it was based on a novel by Isaac Ashby Singer. I did plan to watch this during Yom Kippur last year, but I never got around to it. And by that I mean the DVD dub, because my VCR at the time still wasn't, repaired. And this is the only CBS Fox tape I have with this sort of label on it. The label that CBS Fox used very, very briefly during 1984. This comes from Hound Hill Video, or Hound Hill Movies and Music. They're probably the same store. Here's Rodgers and Hammerstein's Oklahoma. Of course, the adaptation of the world-renowned Broadway musical from 1955, and originally released in theaters by the Magna Theatre Corporation, released in 70mm film prints. When it went into general, Magna handled the roadshow presentations of Oklahoma, but Fox released the film in general release. The general theatrical release rights, and CBS had the video rights, which is why MGM CBS released tapes of Oklahoma and another Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, South Pacific. This actually has a printing on it, January 29th, 1989, so it does it for part 1 of my CBS Fox collection.